What's up, guys? I haven't made a video for Destiny in a very long time, and I don't think I've made a face reveal, and I guess this is the weirdest time to, you know, uh, do that because Destiny's over. You know, uh, just to give a quick FYI about a couple of things about me. I've played Destiny since Destiny 1. I was definitely a year one player. It may not label me that for some weird reason. I don't know why, but I bought the Taken King DLC. But I originally had the original Destiny 1 PS3 disc. And something about it made it seem as if I was a year 2 or year 3 player. I don't know. Something glitchy happened. But I've played it since before the Dark Below dropped. I didn't play it day one. I'm not gonna act like I was the beta guy or the alpha. I'm not saying that, but I have played it up to since before the Dark Below dropped. The main thing that drew me into Destiny was the lore, which is kind of funny because a lot of people give Destiny lore a lot of crap, which you won't hear complaints from me on that part. There's definitely been some balls I've dropped. They've dropped the ball quite a few times. Vanilla Destiny 1, I'd say. Shadowkeep was kind of one of those two, and Lightfall. Shadowkeep was just very vague. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. You know what I mean? That being said, we all know why we're here. Or at least why you clicked on my video. If you do so. If I post this. Anyway. And it's because Destiny 2 is over. It hit like a ton of bricks. And I'm sure it hit like a ton of bricks for you too. People like Houndish, I don't know about Paul Tassi, but people like Houndish made the point that, hey, if the game is over, just say it. Just get it off your chest. And then they finally did. And it was like, damn, they really just said that. It hurts, because I know I'm not the only one who grew up off of this. I'm 28 years old right now, but when I first started playing this, that was 12 years ago, almost 12 years ago, right? So that meant that I was 16. I didn't even graduate high school yet, and I still play the game to this day, through the highs, through the lows, through the Curse of Osiris, during the dry spells after the Taken King, during the worst times of the Red War campaign. Well, the Red War campaign was okay, but everything surrounding the Red War, like Sandbox, static rolls, all of that stuff really just made Destiny suck. And what kept me, and I think a lot of people playing it, was the gameplay. And the lore. For me, the lore and the gameplay. But there are some things that I feel like I need to say just to get off my chest, and I think it's some things that the Destiny community needs to hear. If anybody, like I said, watches this video, one of those is that I think everyone has a right to feel however they feel in regards to Destiny ending. I just got through watching My Name is Bife's video about the loss of Destiny as the third space. I'm not your guy who goes to the bar, that third space, he defined it, and just to be quick about it, is that third place that you go to. It's not home, it's not work, it's a place you like to go. Maybe it might be a football field, might be, a volleyball court. It could be the bars, ain't nothing wrong with that. Drink a little brewski. But for me, it's been Destiny. Sometimes I didn't want to play it, but my friends would hit me up and I would check up on them, see if they need help. I was there for them, and they've been there for me. If it wasn't for Destiny 2, I wouldn't have had any sort of support system. Don't get it twisted, I have a family, but they're not who I chose, if that makes sense. The people in my clan are the people that I chose. Some of them can be something else, and of course you call them out on that when they're being like that. But the core 3 or 4 to 5 people that I play with, really dope people, they really understand where I'm coming from, really understands me. And it's sad watching Destiny go away. Now, I don't think the community is going to go away, but Destiny sure will. And so I think in many ways it makes sense that people like me and other people are going to cope. We're going to think maybe Sony will see all those signatures that are being made on change.com or .org, sorry, and maybe they'll look at it and do something about it. Thing is that when it comes to even that, it's a 1% chance for that to, happen, which sucks. But I think a lot of us just need time, to just think, oh, this sucks. Maybe Sony will turn it around. Sorry, my fan is on. I just need some air. It's been a long day. I deliver packages for a living, so I'm just trying to cool down now. It's been kind of warm out there. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is, and this sounds like copium, and it to a degree, I think we all can agree that it is, but we really don't know what the future holds for Destiny. Destiny is one of those franchises that was so big that you knew who Destiny was even if you didn't play it. American Dad referenced it twice. There's these different things that let you know that it had some longevity. I don't see Sony wanting to get rid of that. I think that they really are just put in a bad spot. Sony was sold a dream by Pete Parsons, and ever since then they've just been trying to figure out how to make Bungie successful. So if Marathon doesn't turn around and become a successful game, then they're screwed. And because Marathon is a niche game, I'm not surprised that they just discontinue Marathon after like a year and a half, which is unfair to Marathon players. I think that it sucks that people who maybe, are 16 years old right now. When I started playing Destiny, that's how old I was, right? It could be that somebody who's 16 years old is like, oh, I want to play Marathon. This looks fun. I don't know if I can get into Destiny. I've heard a lot of stuff about content being removed. I can't really play this. That makes sense. Bungie's at fault for that, but it makes sense why you would want to play Marathon over Destiny, if you so desire. And that's okay, but I do think that even if there isn't new content, I hope that we at least get the Red War and Forsaken campaign to come back. Because if we get those two back, I can then finally show the game to my friends. I think people would have a different view about it. They probably would still think that there were things that were just terrible about the game. But I think that people could go from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 and have fun. I don't, expect people to love a 30 frames per second game, but my friend literally just made me go through Borderlands all the way up to Borderlands 4. I need to finish Borderlands 4, but I was willing to do that because he's my friend, and I played those and I had a good time. I had a good time with my friend, and I hope to play some more games with him. But I wanted to show him Destiny, and it's like I could show him Destiny 1, but then when we get done with Destiny 1, I would then have to stop everything I'm doing, and say, hey, let's go ahead and watch these cutscenes for Red War campaign, Forsaken, just so he could play Shadowkeep with me. That just doesn't feel great. You know, like asking him to do that. It's not fair. That's not right. It's also not what I paid for. I paid for Forsaken. Forsaken was not a free-to-play campaign. Red War became a free-to-play, and I don't remember if Forsaken did, but either way, I paid for them, and if they became free-to-play, then I should be getting some money back for that. That's how I see it. And it wasn't like Red War and Forsaken were like old expansions at that point in time. When they brought out Beyond Light, it had only been 4 years. You know, it had only been 3 years for Forsaken. I take that back, actually. 2017 was when the Red War came out, and 2020 is when Beyond Light came out. So it was 3 years for Red War, and it was 2 years for Forsaken. So they weren't old expansions at the time. So, you know, that's not really fair. But I think the last thing I really want to get my point across before I kind of, you know, free think it, is that it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be pissed off by this shit. It's okay to scream and howl to the wind. It's okay to get into the comments to say, fuck upper management. Fuck all these people who decided to ruin Destiny over the years, because we got here because of things that have sequentially happened. Like, fuck the people who actively decided to make Lightfall a terrible expansion. We went from Forsaken, which was a very good one, to then Shadowkeep being kind of more of a middling type of experience, to then Beyond Light being a little bit better. There were some highs and lows. There was definitely stasis was an issue. Not acting like that wasn't the case. But then you go from Forsaken, which is super high, to then like Shadowkeep and Beyond Light being kind of like middle of the road, kind of like okay, to then Witch Queen being like, oh my god, this is great. This is back to that Forsaken era. This is back to that Taken King type stuff. And Rise of Iron was really good too. But like, if we talk about the lore and the variables involved, Forsaken, Taken King, and Witch Queen were all about Hive or Hive adjacent type of stuff, because Savathun was lurking in the shadows in Forsaken. And that is what made the story so good to me personally. I think when we get to that point, everyone was so mad about Lightfall that Lightfall led to terrible numbers for Final Shape. If Lightfall was a good expansion, Final Shape would have been a well better received expansion. It was well received, but not a lot of people played it because Lightfall was just so bad. And then we go on, right? We go on to Edge of Fate, which is like the changes made for that were the worst. The portal was implemented, and a portal was supposed to be specifically designed for new player experience, so that someone can get an idea of what they should get themselves into. The problem is that why would you create a portal? Why would you create something for a new player experience when you took away the very thing that would help them with a new player experience? And that's not talking to Shah Han's ass. That's about actually bringing back the Red War Forsaken campaign. I would love for the seasons to come back in some digestible form, but really, Red War and Forsaken should really come back. That's just what it is. Like, if Bungie is done with making new content, please, please go back and fix that up. Azzacross wants y'all to make a remastered version of Destiny 1. I wouldn't be opposed to that either, but let's actually think about the content that isn't even in the game anymore, which is Red War and Forsaken. That sounds more important than even remastering Destiny 1. That sounds more important than bringing back all the seasons. Those are major gameplay experiences. I paid $60 for Red War. I believe I paid $40, and then probably for Forsaken, but then paid like 50 something or something like that altogether to get the seasons, which was Season of Opulence, which is fantastic. Season of Forge, not bad. Season of Drifter is okay, but I paid for those. Bring them back. That's how it should be. But I guess what I want to say is, and this is where the hot takes really come in. The hot takes are, the game was very addicting. It was a casino type of game. It was, hey, maybe you'll get lucky with the loot. And when we get to D2, there was less loot to shoot for as compared to Destiny 1. But in Destiny 2, it was hard to get exotics. It got easier as you got challenges. But there were some people who still, it took a long time for people to get 1,000 voices, which sucks. My point is that the main reason why people play this wasn't even because of the lore. I think, shout out to My Name is Bife, Mylan Games, and even Beard Grizzly a little bit for his late Destiny 1 era into Destiny 2 era presence. But I don't know what happened to him, but if it wasn't for those sort of people, I wouldn't have had as much of a love for Destiny. If it wasn't for Mylan Games really, really put me onto the lore of Destiny. Like, I was intrigued, but Mylan got me there. And then My Name is Bife has just been this giant, this titan who has just sticked around for so long that, like, I just was so invested in hearing what he had to, talk about next. But this is the hot take. The gameplay was so good. It was like meeting that person who you think is hot. But they don't have much of a personality. Their intellect is much to be desired. That's how it felt like playing Destiny. It felt like you were in a bad relationship with somebody. And the only reason why you're there is because they look good. That's a terrible reason to be in a relationship with someone. It's like, oh my God, this person's so hot, and so I'm going to go ahead and get with them. And it's like, no. That's how it felt like with Destiny. It was like, I want to play this because it's fun. I got friends who don't want to play games like Warframe because they don't, for one, like third-person experiences. They like first-person more. And the gameplay for first-person, for like Call of Duty, is way too clunky for them. It's too loose, while Destiny feels so much smooth. It feels so smooth, feels so nice. And that's why they play it. They'll play it. Probably 10 years from now, they'll still play it. They'll be like, man, I love this game. And I'm like, I'm happy for y'all, but this feels like a bad relationship. And I feel like this was a different type of hell for content creators. I didn't really jump into that, like I said. But content creators had this issue where they made it their lives work. And because they made it their lives work, they inevitably had to keep playing this game. They would see other games come out, and they wouldn't play them on their channel because they were afraid that that would get them less views and that would actually detract attention from their channel. But now, as time progressed, they like people like Fallout Plays and Azzacross and even Mylan Games is starting. Mylan Games moved on, but like My Name is Bife and Datto are all deciding to do more variety content because they knew low key that Destiny was kind of going down in flame. And it's not because they went to some summit and they were like, hey man, this game about to die. Like, that's not what it is. It's just that genuinely, they see the writing on the wall just like everybody else. Their hell is that this is how they were getting a paycheck. This is how they get a bag of money, you know? And they can't just walk away. So when they hear that the main game that put them on the YouTube map, put them on Twitch, is Destiny, and Destiny's going down, that killed them. That is killing them. For us, it's like I said, it's its own hell because we're kind of like in a bad relationship. But for them, it's like bad relationship, and this was their source of cash. So it's like, damn, you know? So I completely understand why people just need to go ahead and vent. Why Matix is so mad. I understand. Why, like, seeing Dado cry, man. Like, he didn't... These people, bro... People seeing like people like Dado and my name is Bife, seeing them just start to grieve and get so sad. Like it's just bullshit, you know? I completely understand why someone wants to just vent and get this off of the system, man. Because, no, I knew the writing was on the wall a long time ago. I tried to walk away from this game before I ever really did a lot of content creation, before before the end came, because I just saw it like from a mile away, and no matter what I did, I just sticked around. I couldn't leave. I wanted to not pay for Edge of Fate, but I ended up buying it. It was okay. Started playing Renegades. Same thing. I liked Renegades more. I think it was kind of weird that everyone was getting mad that it was a Star Wars themed expansion. Again, another hot take coming from me, but there have always been some Star Wars undertones in Destiny. It's always been there. The whole concept of the Force. It was easier to explain the Force. I mean, it was easier to explain the light when you say, remember Star Wars? And Star Wars is like, oh, the Force, may the Force be with you. You know, there's a light and dark side of the Force. There were individuals like Ulan Tan who said that there was such thing as a symmetry. Like, somebody easily just used the theme of Star Wars' Force as a way to talk about paracausality, ontological forces, like the light and the dark. It's a shame that we won't get to know what's going on with the Gardener and the Winnower. We were only able to talk to the Gardener one time in Destiny. And it wasn't even us talking, it was Cade6 talking. And this is just me saying one little thing before I go. But shout out to Venextron for his explanation of the unveiling, because he's awesome for that. But he also was the one who clarified this for me. When Cade6 is in the final shape and he's touching the light and he sees a vision of his ghost, Sundance, he's like, Sundance? And Sundance doesn't say that she's Sundance. Sundance says, oh, I guess that's what you can call me. And even though Sundance's voice actor played as Sundance and all that sort of stuff and was wielding the ghost of Cade6, it didn't take away from the fact that that we were talking to the Gardener right then. The Gardener wasn't able to say much because the Witness then popped up and bothered us. But we were able to talk to the Witness we were able to talk to the Gardener one time. And then finally the Winnower was having a conversation with us, low-key, through the Tablets of Ruin or just like because the Taken was starting to become a thing in regards to the heresy, and I still wanted to know who was the Lord of every nothing. I want to think that's Six, but they don't say. It was like, what is the Lord of every nothing? What is this? What? That on top of the fact that even Oryx talked to us and said that the Winnower, this isn't the Winnower's doing. I'm like, okay, so what's the Winnower doing? And what's the Winnower been up to? Like, I wish we could have had more conversations with Oryx. And I'm assuming that Eris Morn did, and we'll probably would have found some reveals about that in the future, because like at one point in time, the Echo of Oryx, the Echo of the Navigator, was left inside of Eris Morn's throne world. So I always wondered if she like had more conversations with him, or was it always a conflict? We'll never know, and that's okay. I am frankly upset with Bungie's upper management. I love Bungie devs. I love the writers. I'm mad at Sony for pulling the plug, but I also really got to be honest with you. Bungie has been on some bullshit while they were in cooperation with Activision and afterwards. People want to say, oh, life was so much better when Bungie was by themselves. Was it though? It was okay. Like, Bungie was still on some bullshit throughout all those years. Now, am I saying that every upper management at Bungie was terrible? I really don't know who to blame other than Pete Parsons. I really don't want to be that person who's angry at this forever, because at the end of the day, I just kind of want to like let it all go. But this is like therapy for me to just kind of air it out. I need some water so bad, so I think that's my cue to end this. I would love for people to just talk to me in the comments, just to see how they feel, about the end of Destiny 2. In many ways, it feels like the end of the franchise in general. And so that, too, makes me feel like, well, that's life. Oh, well. Keep it pushing. But I think this may be the last video that I make on this channel about Destiny. I don't know if I'm going to make more video content after this. If I ever do anything about Destiny, I think I would try my best to piece together what the last two expansions that were supposed to come out, what they were going to like reveal, because The Alchemist doesn't really connect a lot of dots for me, but the Shattered Cycle really does. Shattered Cycle makes me like, gives me an idea of where they were going to take it. So I think I may do a video about that. But beyond that, I'm good. It's been a wonderful time playing Destiny with people. I know I've talked about a lot of negative stuff, but I really have had a good time playing Destiny. I just think that a lot of people need to air it out, vent, cope a little, just don't cope forever. And be a little hopeful for the future, because maybe this game will be able to continue even beyond Bungie's life, which I really hope. But with all that being said, I'm Elden Tales. I also go by MD the Medic on my Bungie.net. So that's who I am. I hope to see y'all someday. I'm definitely going to be playing June 9th, though. Me and the homies are definitely going to kick it. We're going to have a ball. I need to get my light level up. But besides that, it's about to be the 30-minute mark. thank you all for watching and all that sort of stuff. Take care. Have a good one.